time now to turn our attention to the international papers. Florence is with us here on set. A story which has been in the bulletins a lot of the day. Massive anti-corruption process in India going on.
That's right. We're going to start off by looking at the front page of the Wall Street Journal Asia. Thousands rally for jailed activists in India. Now, this is the anti-corruption crusader Anna Hazare, who was arrested on Tuesday. Now, he's reached an agreement with the police to leave jail, and he'll be able to carry out his anti-corruption fast in a park for 2 weeks. But he was in a bizarre standoff at the New Delhi prison where he was being kept. Basically, his brief detention turned into a sit-in protest, and we're going to look at a cartoon in the Hindu that I think describes this very well. Basically, his guards were telling him that he could leave, but he refused to leave until he could strike a deal where he can continue his fast. So there you see him, calm as a cucumber, with access to the key to leave, and the guards trying to get him out. He's driving everyone crazy.
And a lot of the papers talking about the fact it really feels like the whole of India is getting behind it, doesn't it? The Guardian's got more.
That's right. Now, millions of demonstrators have been marching throughout cities across the country, and best-selling Indian novelist Chetan Bhagat writes a piece about what he's describing. Basically, he says that the 74-year-old has inspired Indians from all generations and from all classes. It's the first time a social cause like this has achieved this kind of support, from rickshaw drivers to software engineers, from businessmen to spiritual leaders. He points out that this level of support is unusual, and he says that cynics thrive in India, but this time people from all walks of life back Anna, and so do I. And in fact, it's interesting because Chetan Bhagat says that Anna Hazare's non-violent yet aggressive method of protest is very Gandhi-like. And this kind of comparison we also find it in The Guardian, in another article in The Guardian, in the editorial, where they delve more into this comparison. Basically, it says that Hazare has borrowed both style and technique from Gandhi. For instance, he wears plain clothes, he fasts, he has mobilized large numbers of Indians, but according to The Guardian, he does not have or aspire to anything like Gandhi's stature. For instance, he does not confront his followers' complicity in social evils, but he's found an issue and is exerting leverage, and that can only be a good thing in India, according to The Guardian.
Not everyone backing him blindly, though.
That's right. We're going to look at an editorial in the Hindustan Times by journalist Samar Halarnkar, who basically there's been this kind of slogan that we've been hearing across India that's, "I am Anna Hazare." And according to this editorialist, I am not Anna Hazare, because basically it points out that Hazare's proposed amendments to this anti-corruption law are flawed, and also the article points out that this is a protest and not a revolution, and that people's emotions are kind of out of proportion, and he wonders why people don't get riled up about other more important things. And according to this article, it's just basically people are just venting their everyday frustration, and though this movement is good, India has much, much more to discuss.
Now, a lot of papers, particularly in the UK, covering the London riots and the particularly high sentences that people have been getting.
Yes, this is what we've been covering this pretty much this week, seeing how the justice system has evolved, because magistrates have been told that they can ignore sentencing guidelines. And there's an interesting piece in the Independent that compares the treatment of rioters and non-rioters. For instance, 2 young men were jailed for 4 years for setting up Facebook groups to encourage riots. Now, that's the equivalent sentence of a man who was accused of rape, and another man who was accused of dealing heroin. And another young woman was jailed for 6 months for stealing 10 packs of chewing gum. That's a bigger sentence than the man who was accused of disrupting the Pope's visit in Scotland with a bomb hoax. Now, the Independent wonders if this is rough justice, if these are disproportionate sentences, or if it's a necessary evil to avoid history repeating itself.
And finally, if you're feeling a little down, Florence has got the answer for you. It's pills.
Pills, yes. This is a professor at Brooklyn Law School who's arguing for the development of mind-altering drugs. Now, this man is named Adam Kalber, and he wrote an article in a science journal called Nature, where he argues that these drugs could rid the brain of bad memories. Now, that sounds very attractive, I think. And he says that it could also help millions of people who suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder. But not everyone agrees with him. He's been facing strong opposition, especially for ethical reasons. People are worried that this drug could be used to manipulate people and their personalities.
If you could get me some, that'd be great. Florence, thank you very much. Florence there with the international papers.